Hi, guys. So I guess we'll officially start the meeting. Can you guys hear me okay? Somebody say if they can hear me.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Oh, there's a chat. Let's see what the chat's all about. Yes, okay, good. Thank you. Thank you. All right, so we know that this is an asynchronous class, which means we don't have weekly lectures or meetings, but I decided because we're such a short class, only 7 weeks long, that I'd set up this weekly kind of meeting time, only one day a week, from 9 to 10, as you guys have figured out, to give an opportunity to get some live interaction, just in case you have any questions, comments, concerns, problems. We could share some ideas. You are also welcome to visit with me via office hours as well. So I just want to make sure you remind you guys of that. This is not your only opportunity each week to speak with me, but this is our group setting. So on that note, I'm going to try and put together sort of an agenda for what I want to cover. And so this will be in exchange for having to make, like I show you, like YouTube videos. Instead, I can just present the information here and record it and then upload it to the class. And so I can kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone here. So the agenda for this week is I kind of want to make sure you guys are okay with assignment number 1. And also I want to introduce assignment number 2 to you. So that way I don't have to make a separate video on assignment number 2. And I kind of want to keep this as an interactive kind of session where you guys can ask questions and you can, you know, kind of make sure you're on the right track and your guys are doing okay. And so today's meeting might be on the shorter side. We might not go all the way up until 10 o'clock. It really depends on the kind of the questions that you might have, and it depends on how the session goes. So I do, you know, feel free to interrupt me. Feel free to ask questions. I see most of you are muted, video and audio, which is okay. You can feel free to put on your video and your audio, although you guys don't want to be recorded, probably is why that is the case. Who knows? So let's see, on that note, before I begin, is there anyone who has any questions or comments or things that they want to talk about or agenda items that you'd like to add to this meeting? So I will open up the floor right now for your suggestions.
Professor, I have a question.
Yes.
Like, how do we need to submit our assignment? Like, do we need to submit on a PDF file?
Ah, very good question. So you know it goes into Blackboard. In the previous terms, I was accepting them by email, but if you're not new to me, if you've had me before in face-to-face format, we use email, but this time we're going to use Blackboard. And I don't really mind which format you use. In the first assignment, you're working with source code in Java or C++ or C. So I'm expecting a source code file. You can just upload your source code file in a text format or just in a .c or .java format. You can also put in multiple things. So you can also hopefully you'll submit your output file as well. So you have the source code file, your input file. Your source code file, the file that you're reading, where you're parsing out the information and identifying what's in the file, which would be your source code. So it's your input file. And then if you want to include anything else, you may as well. You could put it in, you could print it to PDF, you could put it in a text file. I'm really open in terms of the format for how you want to submit it. Did I answer your question?
Yeah. Thank you.
And a couple of students have already submitted it, and I'm doing the grading kind of like as it comes in. So as soon as it gets graded, I'm going to do like a 7-day turnaround time. So you'll know how you did within 7 days. And because this is kind of a new experience for everyone, if you give me the wrong file, you upload something, or you give me something that's not appropriate, or I don't like it, or I'm missing something, you can redo it all the way up till the very last day of class. So I'll respond back in the assignment area. If I respond back and say, hey, great work, you met all the requirements, 5 out of 5, then you're good. Otherwise, you'll see a message back there that says, hey, I need your source code file, or I need this file, I need that file, or I can't read your file. And you don't have to worry about zipping it together. It can just be separate individual files if you'd like.
Okay, that means we need to attach output as well, like along with the
No,
source code.
you don't actually need the output. If you'd like to put the output in there, you can. Just the input file, which is the file you're reading, and the source code file. And for the first assignment, I really don't need anything. I don't need anything other than that. So for the second assignment, you're going to want to give me a Word file or a PDF file or screenshots, because you'll be working with Python on the second assignment.
Yeah, thank you.
Very good question. Hopefully it answered for multiple people, because I'm going to record this and maybe somebody else has the same question. Who knows? Anybody else have any initial questions? Give it a few minutes.
And one more question, Professor.
Okay, oh, good, great. Keep them coming.
Yeah, like what kind of question can we expect in our midterm? Like, will it have some questions like programming questions as well?
Now, I'm going to make the midterm, believe it or not, I'm going to make it multiple choice. And it'll be based off the textbook reading. So I will also, during one of these chat sessions the week before, or maybe I'll try to do it 2 weeks before the midterm, which is coming up actually. I'll go over the format once. I haven't created it yet. Once I create the midterm, then I'll go over, like, look at chapter 1 or look at chapter 2, or, you know, that stuff. There won't be any programming on the midterm. The final exam might be short answer variety, but for the midterm, I'm going to make this a multiple choice, multiple, and maybe fill in the blank, but we'll see. I think multiple choice is easier in the Blackboard.
Yeah, thank you.
If you want to study ahead for the midterm, I would focus on the textbook reading. If you don't have a copy of the textbook, there's plenty of copies available online. You can find a PDF version of the older books. Those are readily available. So, and it doesn't really matter which version of the textbook you have. Anything past like maybe version 5 or 6. I think we're on 11 or 12 at this point, maybe even 13. But the older versions, really, the content hasn't actually changed. I mean, I think the author added a few more, actually, the author took away a lot of source code examples, and he made it shorter. So the earlier books are a little bit longer than the current book. I think he just started chopping away stuff. And then the back chapters, I think originally covered Windows ME or something, or Windows Vista. He got rid of all that stuff and put in XP, which is still outdated. Who knows, the current version, which I don't even have, might actually include Windows 10 information. So I guess I'll get a copy of it, but yeah, it doesn't really matter. The fundamental information is all the same.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Does anybody else have any initial questions before I start the review of assignment number 2? Nope. Well, I'll give it a few minutes here because I know you guys, some people are just showing up. Because I have 1, 2, let's see how many people I got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people out of 41. I'm assuming you guys like the asynchronous mode. Either that or 9 to 10 o'clock in the morning doesn't work for you, one or the other. So We're going to keep these sessions light, however, which means I'm not giving out any fundamental information that you can't live without. But some people do like to connect. I mean, and I guess I'm speaking for myself. I like to connect with you guys. I really like the the face-to-face. Where you come in every week and I get to see you. I don't actually get to see anybody, and unfortunately in the fall, we're going back to the online environment as well. So you'll have to live with this one more term before we go back to normal, I believe. But anyway, you guys can feel free to think up your questions, and then I will break for questions as soon as I go over the next thing I'm going to do. So what I want to do is share a screen with you. Oh, we have a question. Or do we have a question?
Yeah, I have a question.
Perfect. Yeah.
When I try to download assignment 2, it shows us assignment 5.
Oh, I fixed it. Try it again.
I just did. You
did? It shows up as assignment 5?
Well, maybe it's just the number that's wrong, not the assignment.
But look, have you opened up the assignment?
Yes.
What's in the assignment?
It says programming language concepts, programming assignment number 5, objectives to compare the following in Java and C++. Text file input output, support for data abstraction.
Oh, you know what? That is assignment number 5. Hold on one second. Let me go into the class real quick here and take a look. I thought I fixed it yesterday. Another student had pointed that out to me, and I believe I had fixed it. But where in the course are you looking at it?
I'm going
to in the wrong spot.
Course materials, week 3.
Course materials. Okay, week 3. Assignment number 2. And you're clicking on that lovely little link right there, and it is giving you, my screen is giving me assignment number 5. All right, hold on a second. Let me fix it once and for all again here.
I think what happened, you fixed it in assignment 5 that it doesn't show assignment 2 maybe.
Oh, maybe I switched the two? Good question. Hold on one second. I'm fixing it right now, and then you can test it for me.
Thank you.
And then while I'm doing this, if anyone else has got anything, I can continue to answer. I can multitask here. All right, so we want assignment. All right, so let's just do it this way. I know you guys can't see my screen, but let's just see real quick. I'm just going to try and fix it while I'm talking to you. All right, we want to browse my computer, browse current collection. Okay, we want assignment number 2. Assignment number 2. Okay, got it. And we're going to call this one assignment number 2. You might need to refresh your screen as soon as I do this, but let's just take a look. Open in a new window. Yes. Submit. Yes. Submit. Yes. Okay. Save it. And let me try it right now. Ah, crap, it's still, all right, you know what? Maybe I uploaded assignment 2 as assignment 5. Maybe that's what the problem is. So hold on one second. Let me take a look here. I'll just re-upload it. That's weird. That is very weird. No, so I fixed it, but assignment number 2 is labeled assignment number 5 is labeled assignment number 2, I think is what the problem is. So let's just take a look here and download the correct assignment number 2 and upload it again. All right, so I have the correct assignment number 2 on my computer. Let me just put it in the system correctly. Make sure I get the right one here at least. Assignment number 2 is on Python. Okay, good. All right. So let's see. Back to Blackboard. All right. Let's try this one more time. 3rd time's a charm. Let's see. Edit. I might have to change the name of the file, but let's just see here. All right, let's try it one more time here. Browse my computer. Take assignment number 2. There we go. This is the correct one. Choose. Okay, try it now. It should be working. Any luck?
Yes, now it works.
Woo, success. I will double check the other ones. I guess you know, when I set this thing up, I probably set up assignment 5. I called 5.2 or something. I don't know. Looks like my video's not showing now. Weird. Let's see. So week 3. Oh, there we go. Assignment week 2. Uh-oh. It was under week 3, right?
Yes, it's under week 3.
Okay, good. Okay, good. Assignment number 2. So it is working for you now, right?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you for pointing that out. Somebody had pointed out 5, which was 2, but not 2, which was 5. I switched the names on it. All right. Anybody else before we continue? And if you notice any other problems, please let me know. That way I can fix it. All right. So on that note, let's see. Let me go out and talk about assignment number 2, by the way. So let's see. So I'm sharing with you what should be assignment number 2. And I'm going to assume you guys can see it. And there we go. Let's just take a look here. Okay. All right. So a couple of things I wanted to go over on this assignment for you, just so that we're all on the same page. This is really much a writing assignment. It's programming, but it's also writing. So you can use any version of Python that you want. You don't have to use 3. If you're on a MacBook, you have 2.7. That works just fine. I don't care which version of Python you have. If you have Python set up from a prerequisite course, which some students do, then you can use that in that IDE environment. If you've never used Python before, you could go to python.org and download Python, but you could also use it online. There's a lot of different Python compilers online. In fact, there's an interactive shell, terminal shell at python.org that you can use as well. So don't stress about installing Python and what version of Python to install and where to get it from, yada, yada. You can use whatever you want to use. It doesn't really matter. And you don't actually have to tell me which one you're going to use. But there's a list here. So you're going to download, you're going to install, or you're going to access Python online or on your local computer. Doesn't matter. And then you're going to investigate the following constructs or features as they pertain to Python. And there's 20 of them on here. Well, 19 plus number 20 is one other feature of your choice. And what you're going to do is use a Microsoft Word file, a PDF file, a text file, anything you want. And you're going to answer the questions. And then you're going to provide a source code snippet that demonstrates it. So for each of the above features, you're going to write a short program or programs to investigate its use. You may combine more than one feature together in a single program, and you don't have to do them in order. For example, you could write a line of code and say, this is number 1 and number 12 or something. You don't have to do each one of them individually. In fact, you could write one program if you want, and then in the program put comments, which are the hashtag. You can put a comment in there and say, this is the interpretation. And I'm going to talk about that in a few minutes. This is a function. This is a this is a variable. This is that. So part A, write a short program or programs to investigate its use. You may combine more than one feature together in a single program, or you could just take the list, number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. and write, 15, or excuse me, 20 different things if you wanted to, or 19 different things. So you're going to explain how the feature works in Python and compare it to one or more languages with which you are familiar. Okay, when you do this, I'm not looking for an essay I'm not looking for 20 essays. I'm looking for 1 or 2 lines explaining how the feature works. You don't have to research it. You don't have to put reference citations in there. You don't have to write more than, and I'll give you an example in a few minutes here about what to write. So that's part B. You're going to briefly explain how it works in Python and compare it to 1 or more languages that you're familiar with. And then number C, you're going to critique the implementation or use of the feature or construct. The critique can be just like, oh, it's good, or oh, this is useful, or oh, this is not useful, or why do we have this? It doesn't make any sense to me. And I'll give you an example of how to do this. Some of the features above may not be included in Python, in which case you should note that they are missing and critique the decision of why they left them out. So, and then that's pretty much the assignment. So I'm going to go over one here that I'm going to pick number 6 here. But before I do that, let me pick number 1, because this is usually a source of questions. Okay, the entire Python language is interpreted. There's nothing, actually every single line of code that you write is interpreted. So for the first one, you can simply just say print hello world and say hello world is printed to the screen by a pure interpreter, that the language is interpreted. So when I run this line of code, the interpretation prints hello world to the screen. And wow, that's pretty much it. The critique, well, it's not a compiled language. I didn't have to compile the code before I ran it. I just ran it. So it's running as a pure interpreted language. Or you could just not write any line of code at all for this number 1, because everything, you could just say everything in the language, number 1, interpretation. Everything in the language is interpreted in real time. It's a pure interpreted programming language. It's not pre-compiled. It's not a static compilation. So everything you write runs immediately as soon as you enter it into the Python interpreter. So critique it. This might be more efficient than having to write code, save it, and then run it later. This might be harder because then you have to rewrite it each time. Just critique it with your own thing. So I'm going to skip to number 6 for a second. You're going to do it for all of these guys. And some of the items like short circuit evaluation, you might have to research what that means. If you don't know what short circuit evaluation means, well, let me just tell you, if you don't know, short circuit evaluation means you're going to cut short without evaluating all of the different options. You get this with an if then else kind of scenario. So if I said like I is equal to 50, and then I said if I is greater than 10, which it is, exit. So, well, it didn't continue. It short-circuited. You exited right at that point, which means you're not going to evaluate all the different criteria. So the next one down the road might be if I is, let's just change I, or actually if I is larger than 75, no, then it would go to the next one. If I is smaller than 10, no, it would go to the next one. It's not short-circuiting, it's continuing. That's the opposite of short-circuiting. So short-circuiting means it cuts short. It doesn't evaluate all the other ifs in the process. So you could short-circuit evaluation with if, else, or else. In Python, you would write and you would select a construct that provided short-circuit evaluation, which is the if, else. There's other ways of doing it as well. That's just the example that I'm giving you. Numeric types, you could check those out. Strings, check those out. Let's talk about arrays. So the base language doesn't actually support an array, but an array can be brought in with the import sys, which is a system library that does support the array. And so when you're creating Python statements and you like want to answer this question, you could say that, or you could say, you know, using this library, because Python is all about libraries. There's a ton of libraries that are available for Python. And so you could say arrays are supported. And if you consider this entire list, the entire list is supported either in the base or in a library. So your value add for listening to me right now, and for those of you who are watching the recording of this, is that this here, some of the features above are not included. Nah, they're all included. All of these features are included in Python. This note doesn't really apply. Yeah. You could say that, well, arrays really aren't the base language. They're in a sys library. And if I import the sys, I can actually use an array. But lists, tuples, slices, and I'll let you explain. I don't want to give the entire assignment away. Index range checking is supported, dictionaries, the if statement, the switch statement. So here, if I said, for short circuit evaluation for number 3, as you know, I'm answering number 3, and I'm saying, here's my short circuit evaluation example. I'm going to use an if statement. Well, then I could say, well, this is also for number 12. The if statement works like this, and here's your writing if statement. And you don't have to do it twice. You could combine 3 and 12 together into one response. You could also do it with a switch statement. You could do it with a for loop, a while loop, but you can combine them together. So you could really cut some corners if you thought about writing these source code pieces with some of the other ones that are more theory related. So some of them are truly theory. Other ones are programming, like functions. You actually have to write a function, define a function. Type checking, you might not be able to do anything with that except for you could write an error. You could do something where you've got I is equal to 5 and B or C is equal to hello, and you have another line that says, you know, I plus whatever the other variable is called, B or C. And it's going to come out with a type check error. It's going to say can't. Python's going to come out and say, oh, you can't add a string with a number. And then you can demonstrate the type checking, which is really what that is. Type binding might be, you know, a little bit more of a challenge. But think about casting. You know, think about making the character into an int, or making both A and B. Let's say you had a variable A and you had a variable B, and you cast them both to ints or floats or doubles, and then you use them together. That's a type binding. You're binding a type via a function. And Python binds types with functions. So there's a couple of videos for you to watch this week on, this is week 2, which is what we're in right now, actually. I'm sorry, this might be week 3. But long story short, there's a couple of videos that show up along with this assignment, and those videos will walk you through all of these features as well. And they're going to basically focus on a lot of the programming aspects of it, so you'll be able to write the syntax for it. You don't have to write a complete program. You just have to write lines like define a string, define an array, define a list. And I will on the midterm ask you some questions, but it'll be like, you know, does Python support short circuit evaluation? True or false or something. And it's going to be concept based. It won't be that easy, but, you know, like, you know, what's the difference between a tuple and a dictionary? Or maybe something on the mutable and the immutable behaviors. It's going to be based on the concept. So when you go through the videos, you go through this assignment, really focus, and this is really your to-do list, really focus on the list of constructs here and the concepts associated with it, less so on becoming an expert Python programmer. So the idea is not so that you can write full function programs in Python and demonstrate scripting and all that other stuff. It's not a programming course, it's a programming language concepts course. So don't focus on becoming a Python expert. You might know everything there is about Python and then not pass the questions on the midterm because you don't know what short circuit evaluation means or something. So it's nice to have an idea about what the concepts are supposed to be. So now what I'm going to do is open up the floor to questions. So I'm going to pause for a moment here and let you guys ask some questions about assignment number 2, if you have questions. I'll give it a few minutes here. You guys are really a quiet group. No? Nobody's got to ask. That's pretty straightforward then, I guess. Well, that's good if it's straightforward. Oh, we got a question.
Professor, I have a question about the Zoom meeting. Like, will there be any Zoom meeting on Monday as well, or only on Wednesday?
No, I just thought to do it on Wednesdays.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Because the purpose was pretty much to provide some interaction with you guys. It's supposed to be, this is supposed to be an asynchronous class, but I don't want to like lecture to you, but you know, at the same token, some students and some faculty, including myself, like the ability to actually speak with you. So I'm doing this for me. So I have an opportunity to speak with you guys at least once a week. But yeah, we're going to keep them on once a week. Unless you, if you do want to see me on Monday or on any other day of the week, you just send me an email message. I can Skype with you. I can also Zoom with you one-on-one. But I figured I'd keep the group stuff down to 1 day a week. And the other thing some people might want to be reminded of is the week does run for 7 days. So in the asynchronous world, we have a 7-day week, which means assignment number 1 really isn't due till Sunday coming up. It's not due today, it's due Sunday. In the live sync environment, we run like Mondays and Wednesdays, and things are due on Wednesday at midnight, which I'm waiting to see if I'm going to get a bunch of submissions tonight. But really, you have till Sunday before the week is over in the asynchronous world. There's pros and cons to it. Well, do we have any other questions? So while you guys are dreaming up your questions, we'll kind of sit here for about 5 more minutes or so, depending upon your questions. I'm going to go through and double check the links on those assignments just to make sure that everything's accessible. I'm not quite sure what I did with that assignment 2 and 5, but thanks for the catch on that one. And then I will, after each one of these meetings, so just in case you don't want to show, or I'm going to keep having the meetings for all 7 weeks. So this is week 2. So we have, we have 6 left after today. So it's only really 6 Zoom sessions. And I will record each one of them because I'm going to try to use them to go over course materials and answer questions and stuff. And so it's a great way of kind of seeing a little bit more insights about the assignments and the deliverables. I will also have a special one, and I'll send an announcement out about that will go over the midterm for you. And I'll let you know which meeting time that's going to be. But I'll be recording these, so just in case you can't show up next week, or you skip a week, or the timing doesn't work, you sleep in or something, you can always look at the recording. So it's not going to be edited, it'll just be the raw footage, so you might have to scroll through it in order to find what you're looking for. The recording should give you some good insights in terms of what we talked about. And we don't have to go for the whole hour either. It's just kind of a, if people want to, they can, but you don't really have to. We have anybody, everybody's good? Can we get a review of the midterm before it takes place? Yes, we can. Yes, we can. I'm answering your chat. Now I see the chat, so. Yes, we can. I will let you know when that Zoom session will happen. Our regularly scheduled Zoom sessions will be on the Wednesdays from 9 to 10, but exactly which one of them, I'll let you know at least a week ahead of time. It's not going to be next week because we're too soon, but it might be the one right after that is what I'm thinking. But yeah, that's a great opportunity for you to ask questions because some of you haven't done the readings yet. And I might bring in a PDF copy of the book and tell you which sections to focus on too. Maybe I'll do that next week, actually. I'm going to write a little note to myself. I'm going to try and do that next week, is tell you what to really focus on in that book. That way you know with the reading material, what is important and what's not important. Because certain faculty focus on certain areas and others don't. So you'll get more familiar next week. And I'm making a note about that right now. You'll get more familiar next week with what to focus on in that textbook. But read chapter 1. I can tell you chapter 1, cover to cover. Chapter 2, not so important. You can probably skip most of that. Chapter 3, very important chapter. Chapter 4, very important chapter. But some of it in there is a little overboard. So I'll try and fine tune that for you in next week's Zoom session. Anybody else? I'm just noticing this chat thing. I was going to answer all the chats. Yep. It says we're good. Then if we're good, we're good. We're good? You guys good? Then our chat's over then. So about a half hour, but sometimes we might go longer. All right, well, thank you guys. And feel free to ping me if you want to meet face-to-face. Well, we can't meet face-to-face. If you want to meet on Zoom, if you want to meet in Skype again, or you have questions, I'm very accessible by email. So go forth and finish up assignment number 1. It's due on Sunday. And then start on assignment number 2. Assignment number 2 is going to be fun. It's not as hard as assignment number 1. I try to balance it so that each week we've got a easy week, a hard week, an easy week, a hard week. So it's not hard. But yeah, week number 1, that assignment was a little bit harder than assignment number 2. So on that note, I'm going to let you guys go. Thank you. Thank you. Have a good weekend. And I will see you next week. I'm going to sign off. If you have questions, go ahead, send me an email. Thank you. Bye-bye. I guess I'll go wait for you guys to leave. All right, leave so I can sign off. Oh, all right. Oh, wow. Okay, thank you.